everybody. Welcome to the reading of The Fly by me. My name is Gavin. I've been working on this play for quite a few years. We had a performance earlier. We had a lot of fun, so I'm really excited to get going for tonight. Just so you know, we do have cameras rolling around, so this will be filmed while we're going, but no fret, it's all in the back. Should be pretty low-key. I just wanted to start off by saying that with this play, there is going to be a couple of content warnings for child death and talk of body horror. It should all be pretty self-explanatory as it goes, but obviously being a play, it's going to be, especially reading a play, it's going to be a lot more, conversation. So this was inspired by this short story by George Langland in 1957. There has been two movies adapted, one in the 50s, one in the 80s, both of which definitely inspired this play, though it does stand on its own for its own story, own content, etc., etc. So, let's get started. Let's bring up the cast. So, we have Henry Hutchinson playing we have Mary Sapp playing the role of Corey Roberts playing David Conway, and Janelle Grace reading stage directions and playing Billy Conway. Alright, we'll get started. Just so you guys know, I do have QR codes around for a quick audience survey feedback. It's totally anonymous, so I'd love any feedback you guys have about the show to do it. It's only 5 quick questions. Should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Alright, let's get started. Thank you guys.
The Fly by Gavin. Setting: 1980, Conway living room. The living room should be a modest upper-class space with a couch, chairs, a coffee table, and a desk on the opposite side of the room. The room is covered in horrific paintings that resemble the death of their child. Upstage should be a door that leads to the basement. On either side of the stage are doors that lead to the outside and the kitchen. Behind the living room couch should be a large window with the ability to open. 1980s laboratory. The laboratory should have 2 teleportation units that are big enough to hold a person. The laboratory is in the basement of the Conway's house, so it is quite dank but well kept. This should not resemble a mad scientist lab, but more of a place of work for David. However, there should be clutter around the lab and fire safety equipment on the wall. There should be a large chalkboard visible on the back wall of the laboratory that is functional. There is also a back door that's used for storage. A couple of children's toys still lay on the ground of the lab. 1980s, Vincent's living room. Minimal living room with a couch, TV, coffee table, an upstage window, a door to the outside, a telephone, and some empty beer cans for dressing. Act 1, Scene 1. A swarm has filled the house. The sound of Vincent slapping his face turns on the lights. We are in his living room.
Damn, thanks.
He wipes his hand on his leg. Vincent is a detective in his late 20s. He is charming but disheveled. His home is a modest early 80s bachelor house. On stage is a couch, a TV, an upstage window, a door to the outside, and a coffee table which has some empty beer cans, a pack of cigarettes, a lighter, a box of VHS tapes, and a telephone. We see the light of the TV and hear a child's laughter while Vincent drinks another beer. A projection of what plays on the television shows on stage. Vanessa is chasing Billy through a lab. He chuckles with him. From the television.
Stop that, Billy. You come here. You're going to break it.
Listen to your mother, son. Those things are expensive.
I can't chase you for much longer.
The phone rings. Vincent finishes his beer and answers it.
Yeah. I'm doing what you told me to do, watching the tapes. No, I haven't found anything yet. Just some boring procedural experiments, small tests with mechanisms that I don't understand. I won't find anything in these, but I'll keep looking. Did you find her yet? I don't know where she is either. She didn't have much of a family of her own. She always leaned on ours. We were the only people she could turn to, me and my brother. She loved us so much, she bore David a son only for him to perish way too young. These tapes are making me emotional. Seeing them frolic like children at the lab. They were happy. The all-American family completely clueless of what was to come. Jesus, listen to me ramble on. I gotta quit drinking. I'm turning into Orson Welles. So, give me a break, Chief. I see you sneaking cigarettes from Loretta. That poor woman is married to a chimney that uses pine tree air fresheners just to cover the smell. My brother was the same way. Even now, I can still smell his cigars. I'll never forget it. Keep me in the loop about whether my sister-in-law ends up at the precinct. I want to be the first to speak with her. Until then, I'll watch the tapes.
Vincent hangs up. The television screen turns blue. He takes the tape out of the VHS player.
Done.
Inspects the tape.
Jesus, David, you're a scientist. Don't you know how to label things?
He sets down the tape and goes to the box of tapes. He digs through.
Next contender, next contender.
He pulls out a tape.
Blank again.
Vincent brings it to the VHS player and puts it in. He sits back on the couch. He shifts awkwardly, uncomfortable with the position. He removes his gun from his waist and places it on the coffee table.
That's better.
The tape begins to play. From the television. It's never too late!
No!
Vincent rushes to the player to pause the tape.
What is this? I've gone too far.
Vincent rewinds the tape.
It's the accident. The one that killed...
Vincent's window blows open. The wind slams the panes against the frame. He rushes to close it.
I've got to get that fixed. It's blowing in everything that the outside doesn't want.
Vincent walks back to the couch and pauses the tape. A still image of Billy. Vincent smiles at him for a moment. The telephone rings. Vincent answers.
Chief, I was just about to call you. I think I found something. Something big. It's almost... Chief? Hello? Are you there? Vanessa?
A hum of the phone going silent. Vincent hangs up. A letter slides under the door. Vincent turns and walks towards it. He picks it up and opens it. He briefly glances at it before dropping the letter on the floor. He runs out the front door. Out the door.
Vanessa? Vanessa!
The room is empty. At the window, we see two hands push it open. Vanessa climbs over the windowsill with a backpack on. She is beautiful, in her early 30s, and covered in dirt. She wears the wrong attire for what she's doing. She surveys the room and moves quickly to the coffee table. She ruffles through the box of VHS tapes.
Come on, come on, come on.
She looks up at the television. She looks white as a sheet. She is still for a moment. Out the door.
Vanessa, it's me. You can come out. You're safe.
Vanessa continues to rummage. Vincent enters.
Van?
Vanessa looks up. They both look at the gun on the coffee table and rush towards it. Vanessa gets to it first and points it at Vincent.
Hey, easy now, easy.
Stay put.
Okay. Where have you been?
Hiding.
Are you hurt? Can I get you some food?
I'm thinking.
What are you thinking about?
I didn't think this far ahead.
Just put the gun down.
This gun is all that I have right now that's keeping me free, keeping me alive.
Van, you don't want to hurt me.
Why not? Shouldn't you be scared of me? Don't you want to beg for mercy? I just killed your brother. Shouldn't you hate me now?
Vincent moves slowly towards the television. Vanessa follows him with the gun.
I don't hate you.
Everyone else does now. You should hear what they're saying about me on TV. They accuse me of all kinds of things.
All that everybody wants to know is the truth. We all want to know what happened. For Christ's sake, Van, you burned down his lab.
So you do think it was me?
I didn't say that.
You claim I burned down the house.
That doesn't mean that I think you killed him.
Well, I did. I killed him in cold blood. But I had to, you don't understand. The man had to have some dignity. He didn't want anyone to see him. He could barely see himself. Now they're going to put me away. They're going to put me down. They're going to put me down.
Dignity? What are you talking about? Did David ask you to kill him?
He told me to set the fire too.
Why would he ask you to do something like that?
Stop distracting me.
I'm just talking.
Vincent presses play on the tape. Lights up in a laboratory. Billy and David are looking through his equipment. There's a chalkboard covered with equations, a back door to storage, a panel with an assortment of knobs and switches, and 2 teleportation units that are big enough to hold a person. A camera on a tripod sits in the corner, recording the following. Billy waves a stuffed elephant toy in front of the lens.
What is it, Billy? Tell the camera what it is.
An elephant! I love him! Billy hugs the toy, which says, I love you. David hands Billy a screwdriver. He begins to play with it as well.
Show it to the camera, buddy. Tell them what it is.
A screwdriver?
What does it do?
It builds things!
Show them what they build.
Billy runs towards the pods. A closet!
A closet. That would be quite the statement. Come here, son.
Billy runs to David.
Hey, buddy. Now, this is the Conway carrier. We call it a carrier because it carries people to places unharmed. Of course, this is an early model, but we've made some great progress. Things are coming out on the other side. That's the point, right? Hey, Billy, tell them why we call it Conway.
Because that's our name.
Exactly! Billy and David Conway. Listen, there's one thing that's really holding this project back is money.
Moolah!
This thing contains a quantum entangler which generates tons and tons of heat. In fact, we have to keep these coils hooked up to liquid helium just to stop this place from burning down. Hopefully, this demonstration convinces you of the potential of our project.
David grabs 2 pairs of goggles and lab coats. He hands the pair to Billy.
Safety first.
This is too big!
You can't exactly make them in your size.
Fully outfitted. I feel like a Jawa!
Grow into it.
David moves to the power console.
Power on.
David flips a switch. The entire system energizes. He smiles. Wow!
Wow, indeed.
David walks out in front of the camera.
Now for the main event.
David removes his wedding ring.
For this demonstration, I wanted to show you my confidence in this machine, so I'm teleporting my own wedding ring using the Conway carrier.
David opens the door and places it inside. Dad, are you sure this is okay?
It's completely safe.
David closes the door and moves to the power console.
Put your goggles on, son.
They both do so. I don't want to do this anymore!
Just stand there and we'll talk after.
Lights begin to rise on the 2 containers. No! This has to stop!
It's too late.
It's never too late! Billy runs towards the container one to grab the ring. He trips on the oversized lab coat that he is wearing. He falls atop the coil on the side of the container, releasing liquid helium, which fills the stage with gas.
No!
Lights shift back to Vincent's living room. He has slowly shifted his way closer to Vanessa. She is in a trance from the tape. He attempts to disarm her, but she breaks free of his hold and knocks him to the ground.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Don't mess with a woman who has nothing left to lose.
I'll keep my cool.
Get up.
He does so.
Sit down.
He does so.
It wasn't my intention that you would see me. I just wanted to make you leave so I could get what I needed.
What do you need?
A tape. It just so happens you have all of them. I thought they burned down with the house, but I guess I was wrong.
They managed to survive the fire. A number of things did, actually.
I saw that the 3 pillars in front of the house were still standing. When we built that home, we etched our names into the side of each one. It was so long ago.
We can go back to the way things were. Just tell me what happened.
Is the house bugged? Are there cameras that I can't see? Was this a trap?
No traps. Nothing like that. Just me. Okay? Tell me what happened to my brother.
Oh, Vincent. It was so horrible.
I know. I saw the body.
That wasn't him. Not anymore. Not really.
Vanessa.
It's true. It wasn't him. I know that it wasn't.
Vanessa takes a moment to gather herself.
What's the tape that you're looking for? What's on it? Certainly it can't be worse than the death of a child. Just let me help you find it.
The tapes won't make sense to you. They're the ramblings of a madman.
Then why do you want them so bad?
Vanessa doesn't respond.
Why would David want you to kill him?
To end his suffering.
Well, therapy can help with that.
Not with this at hand.
What was it about? Money?
Vanessa takes off her backpack and throws it to Vincent.
Open it.
Vincent reluctantly does so. He pulls out a painting with a horrific image. The canvas was clearly cut out of the frame.
What is this?
It's a painting.
Did you make it?
No, I grabbed it on my way out the door.
So why this one?
It's complicated. Plus, it was the only one that would fit into my bag. That is, after I tore it from the frame. I actually made the backpack a week ago.
So you planned on killing him?
No, it was just a coincidence.
Vincent digs in the backpack and pulls out a cigar box.
A painting and cigars.
He opens the box.
Actually, no cigars, just a box. There's nothing of value here, just clothes and junk.
Except for this locket. David gave it to me before he went into the army. He used to say, keep it close to your heart, that's where I'll be safe. He included a picture of himself inside.
No.
I don't know where else to go, Vincent. I have nowhere left to go. I don't have a plan, I don't have money, I'm just a wanderer in the woods who now has a gun.
Don't wander alone, Vanessa. Bring me through your journey. Show me what brought you here. Tapes and little knickknacks. Don't tell me anything about what really happened.
Vanessa contemplates for a moment.
You won't take the gun?
It's yours, as far as I'm concerned.
What do you think their version... I don't think that I can do this.
Vanessa looks at the television.
What do you think their version of events will be? What kind of story will be told?
I doubt a very satisfying one.
Well, you're wrong. Everyone will eat it up, even if it's just fiction.
It sounds like there's something you're trying to tell me.
Trying? No. Dreading.
Why?
David's work was never about the good of others, but the greed of his desire for power. Greed only seeks to destroy. It destroyed my son, and it destroyed him. God, it's still so fresh.
It's been 5 days, man. I know it's fresh, but it's important to tell me. I can help you.
At the very least, someone besides me will know. Someone who can share the burden.
Yes. Take me there.
Maybe not everyone sees memories the same way. Some may view it as a storybook like the ones you read when you're a child. You have a picture in your mind of what you deem is important. But for the ones who were there, it's like catching a moment that is too far gone, or pulling out something that you buried so deep. So deep. The story really started when my heart left this world on that cold winter morning. It continued when that broken heart was left to rot, while David's heart was put somewhere else, somewhere vile that tarnished it. It was after some time that I was able to get it back, only for it to be taken away again forever. You can believe I'm crazy, Vincent. I don't care. What I do care about is that you know what I believe to be the truth.
That's all I ask.
Act 1, Scene 2. A spotlight on Vanessa, who is in a new outfit, one that is clean.
In my youth, I was a painter, an amateur painter, you could say. Perhaps the remnants of what was supposed to be a painter. Nevertheless, I painted when I needed to feel excited, sad, or simply just wanted to feel anything at all. To feel human. For a while, I never painted. I had become enthralled with the world around me. And children. Well, you can imagine how much of your time is just gone with children. But lately, I've found myself having lots of free time. I guess you could say that David had his experiments and I had my painting.
Scene shifts to the Conway living room, which has a number of painting supplies scattered throughout.
When I was young and naive, I painted landscapes because I saw the world as a beautiful place. After the accident, that was no longer the case. Each painting kept the same name as my son because he was all I thought about when I created something. It drove David wild.
David enters the room.
Hi.
Vanessa gives a friendly grin.
Right. I'm just grabbing a smoke.
David goes to his desk and takes out a box of cigars.
I'll have to refill on these soon. They're running out.
They're bound to run out quickly when you smoke them every day.
They're my one levity in the day. Something to look forward to. Even if it's true what they say about them on TV, I just can't give them up.
He smells the cigar, then puts the box back in the desk drawer. David then walks over to Vanessa and kisses the top of her head. He backs up, then leans in for another kiss. She pushes him away.
Stop. Just not right now, okay?
Okay.
David lights the cigar.
What are you up to?
Another painting, but I have mixed opinions about this one.
Can I see it?
Vanessa shows him.
Oh,
Don't like it?
I guess I have mixed opinions about it.
I thought you might.
I have a favor to ask you.
Okay.
It's something you may be interested in. I know the way you see things. You have such an artistic eye. Well, these experiments have started to get rather complicated, and I'm having trouble shooting them with the camera at the same time. Would you mind?
I can't do that for you, David.
Come on, it's a simple task. There's not that much you really need to do. Just point and shoot. You have to follow me.
I can't
see.
go back down there. It's too painful. I want nothing to do with your machine. Your machine killed my child.
It killed my child, too.
Look, you know that I won't go down there. No matter how much you pry, I just can't.
Vanessa.
Just leave me alone. You're an expert at it, aren't you? I'm busy with my own thing, and if you don't want to talk about what I want to talk about, then I don't want to talk to you at all. Just let me paint.
It's important to me.
So was he.
You always like to play that card.
It's not an easy one to play. Do you think that what I'm doing isn't important?
I didn't say that.
But you don't think so? I mean, deep down.
Your paintings, they're not going to change the world.
Oh, really?
What I have downstairs, it's going to change everything. Life as we know it.
And that's important to you?
Yes.
Hmm.
What?
No, nothing. It's just interesting is all.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
It's not about what you said, it's about how you said it, body language.
All I'm saying is that it's interesting that you're fixated on changing the world.
What's so wrong with that?
Well, I tend to like the world just as it is. In fact, I like to add my own flair to it, give it a little excitement.
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 And you intend to do that with your paintings? Will people even latch on to these? They're pretty intense.
Art isn't always about joy. It's about emotions and your reflections of them. You want to put a strain on your happiness, but you don't know that straining one emotion makes you forget all the rest. It gives you tunnel vision. David, if you only experience one emotion for the rest of your life, you're never going to truly live. Paintings give you those emotions. They make you not only look at the canvas, but at yourself.
I get it.
Then look at this again, David.
She shows him the painting she was working on again.
What do you think?
I told you. I have mixed emotions about it.
What are they?
Misery, anguish, fear.
You're scared.
I never said that I was scared. That was just my first reaction to it. If anything, you're the one who's scared.
Not about this.
You know, you really ought to go back to landscapes. I think that those were really
That's
something.
not the point, David. The point is that you looked at this painting and attached yourself to it. You put yourself in the frame that you were afraid of something. What are you afraid of? Yourself?
I'm not scared of myself. I know who I am and what I am. I dream of a world where man rules the earth and can have all of reality in the palm of his hand. God gives us intelligence to uncover the wonders of nature. Without the gift, nothing is possible. Science, my dear, is the literal way of the world, and any man who controls it, like myself, can do anything. For that, I am not afraid.
You should be afraid, David. You should be very afraid.
David turns to go back to the basement. Just as he is leaving, he notices another one of Vanessa's paintings.
You think this will change the world?
No, only those looking to change.
What happened to us? We had our grip on the world like no other. We were happy and excited with life. More than anything, we were a team. I love you, and I know you love me. At least at one point you did. We used to go camping, to games and parties. We should go somewhere, on an adventure.
I don't want to leave. Not anymore. I'm trapped.
It doesn't have to be now. Nobody is saying it has to be now. I'm just saying, eventually we should go somewhere, you and me. Once I'm finished downstairs, we can go anywhere in the world that we want. We just have to believe and trust that it will happen.
I don't know, David.
Just think about it, please. Whenever you're ready, I'll be downstairs.
David exits. Vanessa runs to the entryway to see that he's gone. She begins to cry and lean against the wall. She struggles for her breath. She runs to the window, opens it, and sticks her head through. She lies over the sill as she catches her breath. She then turns and sits without energy on the couch. She drifts. Vincent enters in the same outfit that we saw before.
So, you threatened him.
I never threatened him. I couldn't listen to him because to me the whole world was gone.
You told him that he should be afraid.
Perhaps I knew what was to come.
And what was that?
Darkness.
Vanessa stands up and moves to David's desk to open the drawer.
It seems like you want to put the blame on me. I understand. That's what everybody else wants.
I mean, you were pushing him away.
No, he was trying to trap me into his existence. He wants to convince me that there are things more important than us, more important than our son. I mean, he doesn't touch me anymore. Hell, he hardly looks at me. For God's sake, will this drawer just open?
The drawer opens. Vanessa grabs a cigar box. She starts to take out a cigar and readies it.
You're smoking again. I thought that you stopped doing that when you got pregnant.
No reason not to now.
Vanessa lights the cigar and smokes it out the window.
Does David know that you smoke his Cubans?
He doesn't take notice of anything upstairs. Of anything at all. He's so clouded in his project.
You saw a therapist after the incident.
Briefly.
What happened?
They were men. All of them, men. David refused to confide in his feelings to another woman. He said it made him feel dirty. He didn't seem to mind how it made me feel.
And how did you feel talking to a man?
Dirty. That's when I started to confide my true feelings onto the canvas.
No longer doing your landscapes. I quite like those. I believe that I have one upstairs.
Things that can be so easily displayed in the open usually aren't worth looking at. They're too safe, too one thing. I don't know. I suppose that I wore out my interest in that type of painting. I do like the way the sky can be colored at dusk, the way it hits the skyline.
Beauty bores you.
No, it's outgrown me.
Has David outgrown you?
I don't know.
So you push him away when he tries to get you to come downstairs. In an act of self-destruction or perhaps a lack of direction, you smoke his cigars. What then?
Vanessa takes a puff of the cigar.
I looked out the window and saw the sun setting. It was serene, tranquil. It mocked me with its beauty. I began to think, perhaps things really are all my fault. Everything always feels that way in the moment. Then I thought maybe David needed to see the beauty in the world again before he could process their harsh realities. I took another puff of the cigar, contemplating my guilt, and wondered if it was justified or not. I suppose it didn't matter one way or the other. What's done is done. But then, if I must leave something in the past, I have to push forward one way or another. I wanted to embrace the scary new reality with a peace offering.
What was the offering?
A painting.
Vanessa puts the cigar out. She moves back to the painting.
Paintings never seem to be David's forte. In fact, he just told you how little meaning they have to him.
I've always had this theory.
What is it?
Some people, when they feel, touch, or see something, it triggers a secondary response other than the first obvious one. Your brain connects a sense with a certain emotion and maybe experience. Let's try something. Say I paint this line.
Vanessa paints a green line.
To most, that's just a green line. But for some, this green may represent longing or a feeling of loss. They may see green as positive, some negative.
I think I understand.
Even touching it can make you respond emotionally.
Vanessa presses her finger to the wet paint and moves it downwards, obscuring the line. They both stare at it.
Even the shape of the line can describe a certain journey, I suppose.
It's different for everyone. But it's really a science that people have an emotional response to an object like this.
Do you want David to see this?
I believe that he already has seen this, but ignores it altogether.
Vanessa begins to paint more. Act 1, Scene 3, David's laboratory. Similar to its look in the first scene, but covered in drawings and schematics. The chalkboard is full of equations and drawings of parts of the machine. The look of desperation surrounds the laboratory as well as David's face. It's like he's running out of time. He references the drawings as he fiddles inside his power console. Wires surround a circuit, which he's trying to attach. David is on his back, hands in the power console. He is frustrated. Knock on the door. David gets up and walks to the large door and unlocks it. Vanessa stands there with a painting in her hands.
You came.
You said that we could go anywhere in the world. Where do you want to go?
First, I want to get out of this basement.
You've barely left the house all year.
I've been busy.
Busy thinking about other
I
things.
can't think about anything but my work.
I know.
It haunts me.
It distracts you.
Well, it's a good distraction. What is that?
A peace offering.
A peace offering? Are we at war?
Sometimes words don't have meaning. Sometimes words are a distraction. They can mask feelings that are buried so far underneath. I thought that I would show you how I felt in a way that words can't.
Aren't your pictures a distraction?
Please.
Okay.
David looks at the painting.
Well,
Well, it's quite the image.
what do you think?
It's good.
You
I like it.
like it.
Sure.
It's not
It's
bad.
fine.
Vanessa looks sick.
Are you all right?
Feeling lightheaded.
Said
She does so.
overwhelmed?
This is the first time that I've come down here since.
Right.
Is it all worth it?
It will be.
You always shroud yourself in mystery
Mystery keeps a person interesting.
or distant.
It's complicated. You wouldn't believe how many documents I have people sign before they even come down here.
I never signed anything.
You're my wife, and this is your house. I can't stop you from looking.
How does it work? What does it do?
The intended use was for cargo. A pod between one country and another with the ability to transport whatever they wanted instantaneously. One inventor created a machine which would scramble particles, relay them between satellites, and put them back together wherever they were going. They established a connection and things went through, but they didn't come out right.
What did they turn into?
I don't know. What I do know is the first person who figures this out will be a millionaire. That's why I tape every test just in case I did something right and I can't remember.
Doesn't it creep you out having eyes on you always like that?
It did at first, but I'm used to it. Oh, so this is the power console. It's the brains of the operation. That is powered by the main quantum entangler, which you see there.
Referencing the light.
This main entangler links the two sub-entanglers, each of them in the pods.
Is it ready?
The machine? Almost.
For a test.
Test.
Would you like me to turn on the camera?
Yeah, just give me a moment.
David puts his machine back together while Vanessa readies the camera.
This is a very nice camera.
VHS, sweetie, it's the way of the future. All you have to do is point and shoot. Just remember to take the lens cap off. I always forget that.
She does so. David powers on the machine. He walks over to Vanessa with a pair of safety goggles.
I'm cautious.
Vanessa takes the goggles from him and puts them on.
It's louder than I expected it to be. The sound coming from the machine is pulsing like a heart.
I'm giving life to something new. Actually, I forgot the best part. What should we send through?
I don't know.
David surveys the room and picks up her painting.
What about this?
The painting?
Sure, I mean, it's not like I was going to hang it up. There's no more space upstairs, and a lab is no place for a painting.
Okay, fine.
Are you sure? I mean, we can find something
I
else.
said it was fine. Let's just go with it.
Okay,
David places the painting inside of the pod.
stand over here.
The two of them stand behind the power console. David fiddles with the controls.
Now when I push this button, the whole world is going to change before your eyes.
I'm afraid, David.
Me too.
David presses the button, and the light from the console glows brightly as Pod 1 fills with light. Pause. Then Pod 2 has the same light. It begins to power down. The painting is no longer in Pod 1, but in Pod 2.
What the hell just happened?
A miracle.
It,
Open it.
Vanessa goes to Pod 2 to see the painting is in the pod.
is it safe?
I think so.
She looks at him.
Go ahead, open it up.
Vanessa does so. She grabs the painting from the pod and looks at it. At first excited, then horrified.
What's wrong?
I'm sorry. I have to go. This is too much. I can't. I really need to leave.
Vanessa pushes the painting into David's chest and rushes towards the door.
It's very impressive. I just need a minute.
What's going on? Just say something.
Good job.
Vanessa exits. David looks at the painting and sees what she saw. A horrible displacement of color. It is no longer a beautiful landscape, but something much scarier and distorted.
I need to keep working.
David goes back to his position at the top of the scene. He is very angry with himself. The lights focus on the painting, a message of what is to come. Act 1, Scene 4. Lights quickly shift to Vincent's living room. Vanessa has the gun pressed against his rib.
You're pushing too hard.
I'm sorry. I started drifting there for a second.
You don't really know what David says after you leave.
I can make an educated guess. He was my husband after all.
Well, he was my brother, but I knew him longer. Hey, you ought to take a pace back or two when pointing a gun at someone. You don't want to be too close.
Why?
Well, because someone can make a move on you and you'll have no time to react. While you're drifting away, that's when your opponent will strike.
They look at each other for a moment. Then Vanessa slides farther away on the couch.
Thanks for the advice.
Well, you're family, so.
Do you still consider me that?
Of course.
Then what do you think of my story? Do you believe me?
I'm not sure that you believe yourself.
I'm not sure either. The words that escape my mouth are ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. But I know them to be true, unfortunately. Perhaps that's my greatest weakness. I must always wear my emotions on my face.
Well, it's a very beautiful face.
Thank you.
The phone rings. Vincent and Vanessa both look at the phone.
Do I?
Answer it. No funny business.
Vincent picks up the phone.
Hello. Hey, Chief, how's it going? What do you mean you found her? Okay. Right, I understand. Will you be long? No, I haven't heard anything from her. Are you sure you found her? I'll keep my eyes peeled. Thanks.
Vincent hangs up the phone.
Well,
They're up on a wild goose chase. Some truck driver found a body in a ditch. Apparently it matches your description. She had a backpack with her. It was filled with things from someone's home. She must have been a runaway.
oh, poor girl.
Yeah, poor girl.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Am I going to hell for all of this?
I suppose it depends on your story.
No matter where the story goes, it still ends the same. That end is what damns me the most.
Maybe it's not just one person who decides your fate, but everyone else around.
I don't think I'll have the energy to tell this story that many more times.
It will take a miracle to pull you out of this hole you dug yourself into.
I wouldn't discount the possibility of a miracle. There are hundreds of millions of things that we do today that never seemed possible even 500 years ago. The television, a remarkable miracle where we see a moving image in the comfort of our own home. Man's ability to fly high in the sky and travel long distances in short amounts of time. Even the drugs we take to prolong our lives are tiny miracles.
What?
What?
You never seem so impressed by science. I don't know, it seemed like you didn't really care about that stuff.
But there's an artistry in science. Believe me, I know. I've never not been impressed by science. It takes a lot of creativity to make these devices that perform miracles. It's just that, when have we gone too far? When do we need to stop?
Einstein was always frustrated by the fact that there are things about our universe that we simply can't know about or comprehend. There is certainly a limit.
But when will we be bored with that limit and destroy ourselves with the information that we were never supposed to know?
Now it sounds like you're the one who's afraid.
I am.
Perhaps we should get back to your story.
It doesn't get easier.
I've picked up on that.
All right. David's work was getting the best of him. He was growing increasingly impatient and wanted nothing but for his project to be over and for the success to start. I think that success would always be a reassurance for him, as if success justifies sacrifice.
Do you think it does?
Sacrifice should never outweigh importance. To me, he made the greatest sacrifice he could. The success, however, always seemed to me as nothing more than convenient.
It's revolutionary.
It's useless.
Act 1, Scene 5, Conway living room. David enters through the basement door. Vanessa sits at the couch looking through an old box of photographs.
Hey, what you got there?
Photos?
Can I see?
Vanessa gives him a picture.
España? I've never seen you wear this dress again.
It hardly fit me after the pregnancy. I sold it.
Do you remember that dog that kept following us around? I thought we were going to bring him home.
We didn't.
Thank God. Can you imagine going through customs with that?
Vanessa looks at another photo. David looks over her shoulder.
What's that?
She turns it for him to see.
Wow.
He takes the photo.
Wow, wow, wow.
You remember that, don't you?
Oh, I remember you asking for a cheeseburger right after I took this photo.
Would you oblige?
My wife just delivered a baby. I think she can handle a quarter pounder.
I think I dropped a pickle on Billy's head.
Oh, it was a good day.
Oh, it was a long day.
But a good one. For the first time and, well, ever. We felt like we had a purpose.
We did?
Maybe it's time for a new purpose.
Like, what?
David's eyes turns toward the basement.
That?
It's just a thought.
That's your project, not mine.
It's our legacy we're talking about here, Van. This is big money. Real money.
That is, if it works.
It'll work eventually. I just need time.
More time, more time, more
Why
time.
don't you support it? I mean, don't you want money?
I thought you already learned what happens when you play with God.
I'm not playing with him. I'm just trying to understand.
I've been trying to.
David grabs another photo from the box.
Cancun. I still have that scar from the beach.
You shouldn't dive into the shallow ocean.
Live and let live. Billy loved the sea.
It's the only time he ever got to see it.
I can see our house on the other side.
He didn't know any better.
He was funny.
Vanessa shuffles through many photos.
Vacation, vacation, vacation. They seem so strange. A family's fondest memories together are when you're away from home. Shouldn't your house have the most precious of memories?
It's nice to break up the monotony. What? You don't like vacations?
I like them.
You're always reading during them.
I like to relax. A book helps me relax.
Maybe next time we'll take a trip to the library.
Vanessa gathers the photos and closes the box. She tries to take a photo out of David's hand.
I'm still looking.
Vanessa puts the box on the desk. David holds up the picture to the other paintings hanging on the wall.
What are you doing?
Comparing. I know you named each of these after him. I wanted to see if I noticed a resemblance. None of these really seem to look like him.
They're not supposed to.
What are they supposed to be then?
Interpretations.
Who's supposed to interpret it? Is that what makes it art? It must be better if you can't understand the damn thing.
You could say that.
I never understand you artsy types.
That's why you build things.
Broken things, apparently.
You think broken things built this
They
house?
seem to maintain it.
Maybe you should stick to medical devices. People always need ways of getting through their daily lives with ease.
That's what the Conway Carrier is all about. I mean, think about how much time in our lives is taken up by travel. The average American travels 26 minutes a day to get to work. That's nearly an hour every day, 5 hours each week, 200 hours a year. 200 hours! Imagine getting that much time back. Over 8 days a year, that's like a whole new lifetime.
So you're trying to buy back time.
Isn't everyone?
It's all about ease. Everyone wants things to be faster, instantaneous. Maybe people should learn to slow down and appreciate what's around them.
Maybe. Hey, I've got a surprise for you.
A surprise?
Just wait here.
David exits through the basement door. Vincent opens the window.
I don't understand. What does this have to do with the murder? You seem to be getting along.
Just watch.
She closes the window while he remains outside. David enters back with the painting.
is that?
I know it didn't come through correctly, and what did make it, well, was a little disturbing, so I worked a little magic and sent it back through a few times.
Oh, it smells.
I mean, it's kind of like putting something through a microwave too many times. Anyways, I think I fixed it.
David reveals the painting, which only slightly resembles the product it was before. The paint looks like it has slid around the canvas.
David,
Good as new?
it's wrong. It's all distorted, and I don't know what to say.
It's the best that I could do. You should be happy I put the effort in. I actually like the new look. It's better than before.
This is not what I made.
Well, now it's my art. Perhaps we should display it. How about here?
David takes a couple of paintings down and replaces it with his own.
Be careful with those.
So go somewhere else. I actually quite like this new look. It brings the living room together.
Vanessa opens the window.
That's that painting you brought to my house. Now that you mention it, it does stink.
What are you doing?
I needed some air in here.
The air is fine.
David walks to her. She does not look at him.
What? You don't like it?
Vanessa does not respond.
Look at me.
She does so.
I did something nice for you, and this is how you repay me. What? Is it too disturbing for you?
David picks up one of the other paintings.
More disturbing than this. Maybe you'll like it more if I added blood to the canvas.
David!
Oh, but that's too literal. That doesn't make it art. It has to give the impression of blood, the impression of my child, the impression of a corpse. That's what makes good art.
David takes a piece of tape from a roll on the desk and grabs the picture from before.
How's this for literal?
David tapes the picture of Billy on the painting.
There we go. All better. Now everyone will be able to see what I made.
David walks towards the basement.
Does it make you feel better? Putting me down like that?
Sometimes you need a taste of your own medicine. That's just science, my dear.
I don't think you really know what science means.
I'm still busy trying to understand what you think art really is.
David exits.
So, is that when you did it?
Shh.
Well,
No. In fact, that's when I decided to leave.
leave? Where?
I don't know.
Act 1, Scene 6. David's laboratory. The machine is taken apart, starting to be reconstructed. David is looking over a pile of notes.
There. Okay. All I have to do is replace the ring with carbon fiber material. Just need a flathead.
David goes to his tool bag and opens it. He becomes still. David takes out a sweater from the bag. He holds it in front of him. It is significantly smaller. After a moment, he opens the back door of the lab and throws the sweater in the garbage can.
He never was good at picking up after himself.
David returns to his tool bag and removes the flathead screwdriver. He moves back to his machine and begins fiddling with it. Phone rings. David picks it up.
Hello?
Unseen.
David?
Vanessa, is that you? What's going on? I'm in the middle of something.
Lights up on Vanessa. She wears a coat with a backpack and is sitting on a suitcase. She's at the train station. She talks through a phone she borrowed from the help desk. Hi,
It seems silly to call downstairs. Just come down and talk to me. I'm sorry about last night.
I'm not home right now.
Where are you? Is everything all right?
What are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm talking to you. Where are you?
I'm scared. I'm confused. I just want to be a mom.
You are a mom. Hey, man.
There's this thing that's eating all my insides, and I've wanted you to help me get it out.
What are you talking about?
The pain. Haven't you felt it too?
Hey, please come home.
Please listen to me. I look at you and I see him. Every single day I see him. You're like a ghost. I see this frightening image and I can't even talk to
You
him.
can talk to me.
About what? About work? About the weather? Everything feels so formal. Why did we become formal?
Formal? We're just busy.
You're busy.
These kinds of things don't heal overnight. They take time to process and get past.
Healing begins when you actually work on it. Otherwise, all you're relying on is hope. Hope is such a mistake. If you don't fix what's broken, there's no escape.
Do you want another child? Is that it? You know, we're still young.
I don't want another child. I just want him back. I want things to
We
change.
can't have him back. That's the issue.
There's something more at stake here. I don't think you realize it.
Do you really believe that I don't think about him too? I do. I'm always thinking of
Then
him.
say his name.
A train call is heard.
David, I have to go.
No, wait just 1 second.
Okay?
Are you wearing the locket?
Vanessa takes the locket from around her neck and holds it in her hand.
Yes.
Do you remember what I said when I gave it to you?
Hold it close to your heart. It's the one place where I'll be safe.
There's a reason you're still wearing it, isn't there? I think it's time we start over. Make things fresh.
Pretending that the problems aren't there won't solve the problem.
Then let's go away for a weekend and talk about our problems. It hasn't been easy for either of us. I know that. Maybe if we just get away from our home, from the lab, we can see things a little clearer.
That sounds nice.
This project is almost over. Once it's done, we won't have to worry about money anymore. We can enjoy the rest of our lives to the fullest extent.
That machine is evil, David. I just know it. I don't think that we're supposed to have this technology.
It's profitable and it's almost done. I just need a couple more weeks.
I can't do that.
Then it'll be done tonight. I swear. Just please come home.
I miss you. I've missed you for so long.
Then come back.
Vanessa looks at her locket.
You promise it's almost done? I don't want another accident.
I promise.
Okay,
Okay? You'll come back?
okay, I'll think about it.
Okay.
Goodbye.
I love you. Bye.
Vanessa hangs up the phone. David's light fades. Voiceover. The next train for Vancouver is now arriving. Vanessa looks at her ticket. She turns. Vincent appears.
What's that?
It was the last time that I spoke to him.
What do you have there?
A ticket to Canada.
Canada? What's in Canada?
It's not about what is in Canada, it's about what's not.
Vanessa tries to walk past him.
Whoa, hey, where are you going?
I'm leaving.
You're going to miss your train.
I'm not going on that train, I'm going home.
Vanessa turns.
Do you wish you didn't?
I don't know.
You do.
He would have been alone. All alone there. I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I knew the pain he would have to suffer.
So you left the train station.
No, not at first. I sat there and I waited. I waited for a long time to watch the train leave. I knew I had to watch it go.
A train leaves. She watches.
That's when I left.
Vanessa removes her coat and walks into a spotlight. Act 1, Scene 7. Vanessa in the spotlight.
I went home as frantic as I left it. When I walked in the door, the house suddenly felt like a mess. Because David's money ebbs and flows from project to project, we had to let go of our maid. I never had the energy to clean after that, and nor did David. The house was the same to him. Meanwhile, I noticed the stains on the carpet, the scratches on the walls. Every little detail became larger and more exaggerated. It taunted me. That's when I went to the kitchen. Hoping to make peace, I made a meal for David. After that, I walked to the basement and knocked on the door.
Vanessa knocks on the door.
David, it's me. I know I must have frightened you earlier, so I made your favorite.
No response.
I'm sorry about my call. You know I love you, and I mean you no harm. I was frightened. I felt alone for so long, but now I need you. Come on, can it be just for 1 minute?
No response.
At least let me know that you're there.
A knock from the other side of the door.
Oh, David, oh my goodness, you scared me. Can I come in? Is everything okay? David? Is this a joke? Well, now I'm not sure. Just let me in, I have food. Well, what happened? You can knock though, right? Okay. Okay, knock once for a yes and twice for a no. Do you understand? Great, so you can understand me. And Babe Ruth is the best basketball player of all time? So, what happened? Oh, wait, are you hurt? Bad? Oh my god. Should I call an ambulance? I'm confused. Can I see you? David, I'm your wife! Okay, you don't have to show me. Are you okay? Are you hungry? I have your dinner. At least let me in so I can give you your food. I promise I'll remain calm. You're my husband, and I love you through thick and thin, especially given. David, you have to at least eat. I don't understand why you don't want me to see you. All I want to do is help. Maybe I could get you medicine or a drink or something. Would you like that? I can't help you if I can't see you. It will be okay, I promise. Just let me in and I'll give you food. Perhaps you could cover where it hurts so I won't see. Maybe that would make you more comfortable?
Long pause. The door unlocks and opens. David stands there with a large trench coat, his left hand in the pocket, and a cloth or towel over his head covering any features he may have. The laboratory is a mess. Vanessa holds her fear.
David, you're... Hi. Where should I put this?
David points with his right hand at his work desk.
Sure, okay.
Vanessa brings the food over to the table and sets it down. David points to a corner of the room with his right hand. Vanessa walks over to the corner.
I promise I won't look.
Vanessa stares at the corner. David drapes the towel over the food and begins to eat, though he doesn't make any chewing noises, only a series of slurps.
Can I ask how it happened? I don't suppose a Band-Aid would help.
Vanessa turns and looks at the room.
Why is it such a mess down here?
David points at the corner.
I'm sorry.
David continues to digest. Vanessa smells something.
God, it smells awful down here. You need a window or something. That's how I got that stink out upstairs. Upstairs. David, I have this awful feeling that this has to do with the teleporter. You went through, didn't you? David, do you not realize how dangerous that is?
David points at the corner.
Sorry,
She turns back around.
you know it isn't ready. So, you're hurt. But you're walking. God, you're alive. Somehow I'm sure we can get it fixed. I mean, we have the money. Then what do we do? Can you fix it? I mean, reverse whatever happened. Okay, well that's something. I love you a lot, you know?
David stops eating.
And I know you love me.
Vanessa turns around with a smile on her face and fear in her eyes.
Then I guess we have a shot. But we've got to work hard and fast. I know I don't know a lot about this stuff, but if you told me, if you showed me, I can do it. I swear that I can.
David gets close to Vanessa.
It's going to be okay. It will be. It has to be.
His right hand touches her face.
And no matter what you look like, I will always love you. We've been through a lot, you and me. We're strong. And this thing that's going on, this miracle, it's going to change our lives forever, for the better. And I can keep painting and use the money from this to build a studio, something meaningful, something that matters to the both of us. A new start.
Reaching for the cloth on his face.
Let me see you.
David's left hand grabs her hand, though it isn't a hand, but a black claw. Vanessa grabs and looks at his hand in terror. She lets it drop.
David.
Vanessa pulls the cloth off of David's face, though it is no longer David's face. It is that of a giant fly. Vanessa screams. Blackout. End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1. The droning buzz of a fly fills the dark stage. The buzz transitions into the static of television. We see the static of a tape displayed, then clear video of David in his lab.
Is this thing on? Is it working? Okay, I'm a scientist. You'd think I'd be better at technology, right? Okay, serious talk now. It's ready. Whatever that means, it's happening. I wanted to leave something in case it didn't work out. You know, I never really got a goodbye from my son, so I figured that, so here it is. I'm going through the machine. That's what we're gunning for. That's what we all want out of this, so what the hell? I had an idea, and I'm going to try it. Right here, right now. I'm going to prove that this all meant something. Hopefully the next time I press record on this machine, it's with good news. But before that, I just want to say one thing. That thing is, I love my family. I love my wife. I love my son. I love my brother. This whole thing has been such a detriment, but now it will all be worth it. Vanessa. Lovely Vanessa. You are going to be so mad at me, so mad. But you're already pissed, so why not? I know you love me, and I know for damn sure that I love you. This will fix everything. Science will fix everything. Then we just enjoy what's left with the time we've got. The rest is history. They'll write books about us. Brilliant Dr. Conway revolutionizes life as we know it. For the rest of my life, they'll ask me about this moment, and they'll ask me about how I felt. I guess it's pretty obvious how I felt, right? But there's one thing that pushes me forward, the knowledge that it's almost over. We're going to be seeing a lot of each other soon, hopefully. Goodbye.
The tape stops. Lights up on Vanessa and Vincent on the couch, watching the television.
That's all I have left of him. It may have been the last time that he was truly human.
You really think that my brother was a monster?
No matter what he was, there's no denying that he was different. I don't know exactly what was looking at me behind those eyes, but I think that it was my husband. At least for a short time it was. When he wasn't looking, a fly came into his teleporter. What resulted on the other side was a mismatched combination between man and fly.
I don't know, man. It all sounds too horrible to be true.
I thought so too.
Do you really think you still need that gun? You can trust me. This is a safe place.
Nowhere is safe for me anymore. Danger strikes when you least expect.
Oh, well, perhaps if you get more distance from me, that would make you more comfortable.
No,
You just have to wait this thing out. Lay low for a while. Take a vacation.
they'll track me.
You're paranoid. It's pretty easy to disappear.
Not for much longer. Technology is moving so fast, can't you see? We've harnessed God's power, and now we're going to use every resource that He has given us until we inevitably destroy ourselves.
Like David did.
Yes.
So, what did you do next?
My job was to keep him grounded, keep him human as long as possible. He just had to hold on to what was important
Did he do that?
for as long as he could. As the hours grew longer and day turned to night, something in him changed. Perhaps it was the hysterics of a dying man. That would be the easy answer. But how can that be? When I fainted, he laid me on the couch and dabbed the sweat off of my head with the same cloth that he used to cover his face. He didn't harm me. In fact, he took care of me. Something that a man in hysterics doesn't do. So what was he? I drifted into a dream while my husband watched over me. While his mind was still strong, his body started fighting against him, and it was only a matter of time until it would defeat him.
Act 2, Scene 2. David's laboratory. Vanessa is on a couch, passed out. David is over her body with his human hand on her face. He's sorry. His bug hand acts like a monster, making him try to hurt her. His human hand pushes it away. There is a battle inside of David's mind. The hands fight one another, ending in pushing the dinner tray over, which wakes up Vanessa. She's frightened.
David?
David moves.
It's all right.
David's bug hand reaches for her, but his human hand pushes it away. He forces himself over to the chalkboard, and his human hand grabs the chalk. He writes, "Help me."
Help? But how? David, you're scaring me.
Vanessa advances towards him, but he signals for her not to come near him. David's body flings to the power console. He looks at Vanessa.
The machine? I have no idea how it works.
David goes back to the chalkboard and erases what was written. He writes, "Need." His bug hand tries to stop him. He pushes it away. He writes, "Need, fly."
What? Fly? I don't understand.
David erases what was written. He then writes, "Fly in machine. Fly plus me equals now."
This fly is a part of you. But where's the rest of you?
David underlines, "Fly."
Oh my God, David! David!
Vanessa becomes hysterical. David tries to comfort her, but frightens her even more. David moves to the chalkboard. He erases all but fly. He writes, "Need fly, alive."
Let's say I get the fly. I bring it all the way here alive. Then what? David, you need a doctor. Okay, darling, I'll find that fly. You'll just find some way to reverse this, and then you can destroy this wretched machine. Are you serious? That thing is dangerous. Look what it's done to you. You're not thinking straight. Something has come over you. This bug, this thing is poisoning your mind. Then I suppose there's no time to lose. David?
Vanessa advances towards him, but he moves away. They both stare at each other, knowing exactly how this will end. Vanessa smiles.
We'll figure this out, okay? I just need you to trust me. Do you trust me?
David walks to her and puts his hand on her face. She puts her hand over his.
You have to change this machine. Make it undo what it did. It's no longer the Conway carrier. It's the start of a new life. Please, come back to me from wherever you are. I'll be waiting.
Vanessa exits. David goes to the door and shuts it. He turns and collapses. He looks at his two hands and wonders which is closer to who he is now. He lowers the bug hand. His human hand makes a fist and slowly beats his chest, the energy to keep going. He stands and begins his work. Act 2, Scene 3. The living room of the Conway home. The room is covered with fly traps. Vanessa is putting up her last trap. She rushes like she's running out of time. Vanessa's painting supplies are still strewn about the living room. Checking a trap.
Damn it, it's sticking to itself.
Vanessa pulls the trap so it's working properly.
Better.
A knock at the door. Vanessa answers. Vincent is at the door.
Hi.
Vincent! Oh,
Do you mind if I come in?
okay.
Vincent enters the space and notices the state of the room.
What's all this?
Termites, moths, termites and moths.
Well, they must be pretty big termites. Don't you think you should call a fumigator or something?
I did. He's coming later this week. In the meantime,
Right.
why are you here?
Well, I thought I would just stop by and check on you. Say, where's David?
He's busy.
Can I see him?
No! He's in a state. He's got that sign on the door.
Do not disturb. This is starting to feel more like a studio or a factory than a home.
You have no idea.
A shift.
I didn't at the time, did I?
No, you didn't.
But now I do. Boy, how much I do. You didn't want to show me the beast.
This was a pleasant visit. You came and we had a lovely time. We should focus on that.
How can I like fondly on a memory that's tainted?
Don't be so upset. Naivety can be a gift. You should be glad that all you had to see that day were some traps. Besides, you wouldn't have been able to help anyways.
But how do you really know that? How do you know?
Because I was the one who was supposed to help. And then if we got you involved, and the police would get involved, and then the doctors, and the government, the house of cards, would have fallen had I given you a single piece of it.
Well, the police are involved now, aren't they? So much for dodging that bullet.
I did the best I could.
You never think that I can rise to the occasion. You assume that I'll flame out or something.
What do you mean?
Don't you remember being with me? We're the same age, man. We were a couple.
We were just stupid kids.
Yeah, and you were stupid enough to run off and marry my brother.
Don't call me stupid.
You said it first.
You really still are caught up on something from high school? Grow up.
How can I forget something when I'm standing there, the best man at a wedding, watching my brother marry my ex? How can I just forget the times we had together, the way you made me feel?
Is that how you see me? As an accessory?
No!
But then what am I to you at this point?
You and David made a beautiful family. It was the family that I always wanted, but never really got. David always excelled and got anything that his heart desired. I just got the scraps. You were something that was mine, and he stole it from me.
You don't own me.
But we both loved you.
I know. But the past is the past.
And then where are we now? We're here living in the past.
And we should get back to it. I remember that you didn't just stop by to visit. You had something for me.
Yeah.
Vincent walks to the door and grabs a painting of an elephant.
When you and David vacationed in Morocco, you left Billy with me. He was there a whole month, and then we had a lot of fun. God, that kid had a lot of energy. When you dropped him off, you only brought a duffel bag and a painting. This painting. I didn't understand why, but soon I did. He was mesmerized by it. The elephant comforted him. When you picked him up, you left that painting behind. I thought that I would bring it back. In my house, it was just collecting dust.
He needed time away from it. His obsession wasn't healthy.
Anytime you dropped him off, he would still rush to see it.
I know. We ended up buying him that little stuffed toy just to calm him down.
Then that became a new obsession. He gets that from his father.
Yes.
So, you started spiraling, desperate for a cure for your husband.
Not a cure.
Well, what then?
Hope.
You had no idea how to help him.
I knew that I needed to catch the fly. I've caught many flies before.
With poisonous traps?
If I move fast enough, the poison will kill them.
You don't always move fast enough.
This time I would.
Vanessa opens the window.
The screen is open. This is the only time that I want my house infested with filth.
I think you're venting out the sorrow.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe some sugar would help.
Sugar.
Vanessa runs out of the room quickly. Vincent examines the painting David left on the wall.
Is this a new work? It's so different.
Off stage.
It's not mine.
Are you still painting?
Vanessa enters with a bowl of sugar.
Yes.
Well, good for you. It's nice to see that you're keeping after it, even if your work is a little different now. Tell me, where do you draw the inspiration?
Vanessa pours the sugar onto the counter. She spreads the pile.
Oh, how they flock to something so easy and digestible.
It's simply their nature.
Vanessa buries her head in her hands.
What's wrong? I thought we were enjoying the memory.
When you look back, you see the crossroads of what you could have done differently. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should have come to you for help. Instead, I let you leave as soon as you came.
It's hard to say what could have happened. Perhaps in retrospect, I should have seen the literal warning signs. Instead, I left soon after. What were you thinking next?
I began to think that David may never understand me in the same way.
I don't know if that was really David anymore.
Whatever there was left of him, I had to reach it.
And how did you intend to do that?
Vanessa picks up her paintbrush.
Right, because it worked so well last time.
How else can I speak to him? I mean, really? I'm sure he can hear me, but how much longer will he understand me?
Vanessa stares at the canvas, then at the elephant.
That elephant spoke to Billy's soul. I don't know how, but it did. What's funny is that I made it in one afternoon. Something simple and harmless. It was childish.
What are you going to paint for David?
I don't really like to plan what I paint. I just pick a color that I like and begin. Perhaps color will keep him alive.
Well, what color did you pick this time?
Red.
She begins to paint. Act 2, Scene 4. Outside of David's laboratory. Vanessa holds a painting that's not quite visible. She knocks on the door.
David, it's me. I'm alone.
The door is opened by David with a cloth over his face for protection.
Thank you.
She walks in. David closes the door and takes off the cloth. Vanessa sets down the painting against the wall. The chalkboard reads, Conway Converter, with numerous drawings of the unit splitting particles to create two beings. David's movements are quick and erratic.
The Conway Converter. Even in peril, you still come up with clever names. Have you made any progress?
David erases what's on the board.
Positive progress? Right.
David writes, The Fly?
David, I haven't had any luck. There's no need to get upset. I'm sure we'll find it.
David erases the question mark and begins writing more.
Your movements are so stiff. I think it's been days since you've showered. Daylight. David, you need to see the sun. The daylight keeps you human, away from being a bug.
Vanessa looks at the chalkboard. It reads, The fly poisons me.
How long do we have?
David shakes his head. He walks toward her and falls. She catches him.
David!
He tries to stand up.
You need some rest. Just for a minute. Sit down.
He sits.
I don't know what this thing is doing to your head. I don't know what emotions you're having or cravings, but I know that you're my husband and I love you. Do you remember that? Loving me? Hold on to that. Hold on to who you are. This isn't your face. It's not your hand either, but your heart is still the same, right? Then that's what you need to think with. Your heart. It can't get to your heart if you don't let it.
David nods his head.
You'll find a way to peel this monster off of you. And then we'll create something that's our own, our new life together. I made you something.
Vanessa grabs her painting.
There was a long time that I sat on the couch upstairs alone. I looked around the house and started placing memories in every corner. A stain on the wall from your hand, a cracked piece of wood on the stairwell from a fall, a pane of glass that's been broken since we moved in. Before I knew it, I was smoking your cigars. It reminded me of you. I always used to make fun of you for smoking those. It made you look like a mobster. You know, they're saying all these things every day about the different cancers you can get from them. And of course, I always explain that to you. But it started feeling nice. The fact that you sacrifice a part of your life for comfort, for ease. And then I started to look at the paintings in our living room and remembered every memory I tackled through creating those. Pain mixed with so much comfort in one room. It's remarkable. I think that our house feels it too. The wood, the wallpaper, the paint, everything. So I bottled up all of those feelings, all of those memories, good and bad, and I put them all on display for you. Every dream, every nightmare, everything that made you, you. Here.
Vanessa reveals the painting, which predominantly uses the color red. It is everything she's made it out to be. But the painting shifts in David's eyes. He cannot see the red. What he does see only reminds him of the nightmares. He swipes it out of her hand with his bug hand. He is hysterical.
David, no, let me pick it up.
David does not want to see the painting at all. Even the sight of it upsets him. She tries to pick up the painting, but she struggles with him.
Let me go. I'll take it. I'll move it. I'm sorry.
David, in the struggle, hits her with his bug hand. She falls to the floor and moves back. She's afraid of him.
Remember the pain, David. It's what keeps you who you are.
David picks up the painting.
No, don't do it!
He destroys the painting over a chair.
There, it's broken, completely destroyed. Are you happy now?
He realizes the pain he's inflicted on her and winces back.
Is this how you want to live? Completely closed from the outside world? You lock yourself in this basement because you can't stand the other people looking at you. Well, they look at me differently too, but I don't hide down here, afraid.
David cowers in a corner.
Look, I'm sorry. See? I'm sorry. Come here.
David rushes to her on all fours, then plants himself, sitting like a dog.
Stand up.
David realizes his movement, then stands.
Can we fix this? Was there ever a way?
Vanessa walks to the destroyed painting.
Something beautiful has died here. Can we piece it back together?
Vanessa walks towards the door.
I'll find it, okay? I'll get the fly.
Vanessa exits. David looks at his hands. His backhand is clearly stronger than the other. He's scared of himself. He collapses. David looks over at the destroyed painting and gathers the pieces. He brings the painting to a trash can and puts it inside. He kicks open a back door and brings the can over. David grabs the box of matches and lights one. It hovers over the can. He extinguishes the match. Act 2, Scene 5. Vincent's living room. Vanessa holds the gun to Vincent.
That's when I ran upstairs and kept searching. Occasionally, I would hear crashing in the basement. I was too scared to go down and check. All I knew is that I needed the damn fly to come in my window and that this would all be over.
But the fly never came.
Why do you think that?
Isn't this what it's all leading up to? The point where you couldn't recognize your husband anymore and killed him like a dog? He had a disease, Van.
Don't be so aggressive with me.
You're the one holding the gun.
It's for protection.
Just check the chamber.
What?
Open the chamber of the gun and look inside.
How do I know you won't jump on me?
I'll sit on my hands.
He does so. Vanessa opens the chamber of the gun.
It's empty.
I'm not leaving a loaded gun on my coffee table. I know better than that.
You knew this whole time.
It was the power I held. Now it's lost for both of us.
Then why sit and listen to the story?
Because I want to know what happened to my brother.
So you believe me?
I didn't say that. Sometimes truth hides in the details, but not what's really being said. Often when I'm called to a domestic dispute, one of the people tries to downplay the severity of what's happening. Everything's okay. We just had a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, there's someone in the corner with shaky hands and maybe a bruised lip. Well, what's really going on, I ask. That's when too many details are said and the story starts to crack. Soon what really happened starts to peek through.
So what really happened?
I'll tell you when you finish the story.
You're still finding the cracks.
It's my job.
Has mine been the craziest tale you've ever heard?
It's up there. This is different, though. It's personal.
Right. I can't even imagine what it was like taking that phone call.
It felt like a nightmare.
What happened?
Spotlight on Vincent.
Well, the phone rang.
The phone rings. He picks it up.
Yeah. Wait, what's going on? Slow down. David, are you sure? Where's Van?
Vincent nods and hangs up the phone.
I had to get to the house right away. Well, what was left of it.
Vincent stands up and walks down the stage. A gurney is wheeled out with a sheet covering a body.
They needed someone to identify what was left of his burnt carcass. The head was missing and was never found. His left hand was also gone. I was told it was a token. Nothing about this made sense. I really thought that I knew you and that I knew what your relationship was like. Things weren't perfect, obviously, but how can they be when what you went through happened? I didn't think you wanted more destruction, and I certainly didn't. I wanted this to be a mistake. I knew that it had to be.
Vincent puts his hand on the sheet, but hesitates. Vanessa walks into the spotlight, grabbing the sheet next to his hand. They exchange a look, then raise the sheet together. Their stomachs sink.
And then it was real. The scar was still on his leg from the war. Even through the chart, I could still make out that line. I really wished it wasn't there. He never did tell me how he got that scar, only that it hurt from time to time. It hurts me now more than it hurt him. That's when I knew I wasn't a brother anymore. I was never going to be again. Instead, I was alone.
The gurney leaves, and the lights rise in Vincent's living room.
That's when I got this hatred in my heart for an entire day. I was hurt, and I wanted to hurt the person who did this to him. And then I had a dream. When I was still in high school, David parked, waiting to pick me up at football practice. You were in the front seat, and the two of you were giggling together. You had this joke, and I'm still a little mad that you never told me what it was, but that's when I hopped in the back and we started driving. Not anywhere specific, you know, in a dream when scenes just kind of morph into other scenes. That's what happened. We drove through home, along a beach, in front of a church, to a park celebrating a birthday. We drove everywhere and then nowhere, and that's when I knew that David was trying to tell me something.
What was he trying to tell you?
I don't know.
They hold still for a moment.
So, you ended up catching that fly?
I did.
How?
It honestly wasn't that impressive. I sat on the couch waiting desperately for anything to happen.
Lights shift to the Conway living room. Vanessa sits on the couch, staring into space. Vincent stands and watches.
I was so empty, so bored. There was nothing and yet everything. That's when I heard a buzz.
A buzz is heard. Vanessa follows it with her eyes. She watches it fly around, consider the sugar, then land in the open cigar box on the coffee table. She leans forward and closes the lid.
And that was it. I caught it.
How did you know that it was the right one?
He knew to go for his cigars.
I can't believe it.
Vanessa grabs the box, stands and holds it for a moment.
Vanessa,
Oh, sorry, I was just remembering what I felt then.
What do you feel now?
An awful dread for what's to come.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Act 2, Scene 6. Outside of David's laboratory. Vanessa enters and emphatically knocks on the door. She clutches the cigar box tightly in her hands.
David! David! David, open up! I've caught it!
After a moment, the door creeps open. David jerkingly peers around the door at Vanessa.
David?
David slams open the door and waves her towards him. The lab is a mess. Piles of paperwork gather in a corner like a bed. The pods have denser cables and loose wires. David moves against the walls, all the way to the chalkboard.
What is going on here? Did you fix it?
Vanessa sets down the cigar box.
David, 1 knock yes, 2 knocks no. 3 knocks. Can you hear me?
David motions her to the chalkboard. He has a drawing of the 2 containers with a title, Conway Creator. He draws 2 people for the first pod, then he drags his claw along the board to the second pod, where he draws 1 figure.
David, you were not supposed to combine with the fly again. You're supposed to separate from it. So now you understand.
David runs around the desk to one of the pods. He holds it.
David.
She approaches him.
David!
She spins him around and slaps him.
Get a hold of yourself!
David pushes her to the ground.
Hey!
She stands. He approaches her.
Wait.
Vanessa grabs the cigar box.
Here, a gift. Do you remember? I caught this for you.
David pauses and examines the box. He takes it from her, then rattles it like a Christmas present. We hear a cigar rolling on the inside.
No!
David opens the box and pulls out the last cigar on the box, with a dead fly crushed on the side of the cigar. David peels the fly off of the cigar and throws it into the air as if to let it fly, but it drops back into the box. He shuts the lid. David drops his head. She approaches him.
It's crushed. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that there was still
David throws the box and rushes towards her. He grabs her and pins her to the wall next to the chalkboard. He points to her and then to one of the figures on the board. After he points to himself and then the other figure on the board.
No, not me, no.
David pulls her close, then they roll against the wall to the other pod. While pinning her, he grabs the chalk and circles. Creator.
I'm not going into that thing. You can't create something like this. You just can't. We still have time, please.
David's claw points at her, ready to strike. He runs the claw up her chest, which catches on the heart locket. His claw is stuck.
No, it's okay. Here, look.
She removes the locket. He continues to look. He attempts to open it, which she helps him with.
That's our son, David. Our son, don't you remember?
David looks up at Vanessa. She reaches out to him.
I know you're still in there.
David's claw grabs her and drags her into the pod.
Stop it! No, stop!
David pushes her inside and closes the door. She bangs on the door.
Let me out!
David moves to the panel and begins to start the machine. He turns to the chalkboard and is excited for what is to come. He takes off his coat and moves to the pod. David steps on the stuffed elephant toy that lays on the ground. The toy says, "I love you." David stops, looks down. He steps on it again, which again makes it say, "I love you." David picks up the elephant with his claw to examine. His human hand snatches the elephant out of the claw. His body language changes. David quickly moves to the panel, turns off the system, then opens the pod. Vanessa collapses to the ground. David helps her up and gives her a hug.
David, is that really you? Are you here with me?
David nods his head.
For how long?
David shakes his head. He doesn't know.
So what now? What do we do?
David backs up, then moves to the back wall. He breaks the glass on an emergency fire axe. He takes the axe and breaks the coils on his machine.
David!
He destroys the machine.
My God, you did it. You destroyed that machine. Is it all over?
David turns to her and hands her the axe. She takes it.
I don't understand.
David moves to the chalkboard and erases everything. He writes, "Destroy me."
Destroy you? How?
David approaches her and lifts the axe blade to his neck, then to his claw. He moves to the back room and brings out the garbage can from before. Then he grabs a book of matches and demonstrates igniting the can.
I can't kill you, my love. That's just too horrible. How can I even think about that?
David holds her close and looks right at her. She looks at him for a long moment.
You don't want them to pick you apart. I love you.
David puts his real hand over her heart. She takes his hand and kisses it. She rubs her face on it.
Now I realize this is really you. I wasn't sure at first, but this is it. Your sickness and health, right? I mean, what can I say?
David puts his finger over her lips. She smiles and gives him a long hug. They separate. He nods.
Okay, I understand.
David gives Vanessa back the locket. He goes to the chalkboard and writes, "Remember."
Always keep this close to your heart. It's the one place where I'll be safe.
David nods his head. She puts the locket back on. He grabs the axe and gives it to her. She is hesitant to grab it, but then does so. He grabs her shoulder and nods his head. David grabs the cloth and puts it over his head. He lays down on the ground. Vanessa raises the axe, but hesitates. She turns to the chalkboard. She trembles.
Goodbye, my love.
Vanessa chops down on the head. She picks up the axe, bloodied. She screams, then strikes again, and does the same over and over until it is finished. She's covered in blood. She leans down and grabs the head in the towel and moves it to the trash can. She holds onto it close. Vanessa looks in the can and gasps. She reaches in and takes out a tiny sweater. She buries her face in it and wipes her tears away. She reluctantly drops the sweater back in the trash can. Vanessa moves back to the body and takes off her blouse. Vanessa wraps the hand in the blouse and puts it in the trash can. She then takes another article of clothing and wipes the blood off of her face, then throws it into the trash. She moves and grabs the box of matches. She strikes a match and holds it over the can. Vincent enters.
What are you doing here?
You invited me in.
Not for this.
Whether you like it or not, I'm here for this too.
Very well.
Vanessa drops in the match. A fireball erupts from the can. The room is on fire. She quickly grabs the cigar box and runs out of the room. Act 2, Scene 7. Vincent's living room. The fire crackles turn into the sound of rain and thunder. A storm is brewing outside. Vincent and Vanessa sit on the couch together, staring at the cigar box.
There's a certain quiet that comes with bad weather. You breathe the same dangerous air of the storm. It aches and creaks as it destroys the things that it can easily reach. You have to stay away from those things because they're dangerous, even if they provide shelter. In a way, you can hear the earth speak to you. Sometimes it's the only way it can.
Vanessa,
I told you there's no turning back once you know how it ends.
it's worse than I thought.
Do you believe it?
I believe that he went through it.
Killing him?
Yes.
And the rest?
No.
What do you think happened?
I believe that David was working on something revolutionary. There's no doubt about that. But knowing him, I don't think that he would have ever told you. I think that you came up with this preposterous contraption, a godlike machine to distract me from what was really going on. Of course he ignored you. Of course he felt guilty. Of course whatever he did caused the death of your son, and you resented him for it. But past that, I think it's cabin fever. You always had a vivid imagination, Vanessa. I think that the house ate at your psyche until you gave yourself a reason to end it all.
It's my fault.
I didn't say that. Vanessa, your son died. There's no coming back from that. There's nothing that can heal that except for time. But time can make you rot if you're not careful about it. Your life has been filled with loss and destruction for so long. It's only human to react to your environment in the way that you see fit.
I know what I saw.
Vincent opens the box, then flips it upside down. Nothing comes out.
Then where is the fly?
The windows blow open. Vincent moves to close them.
I need to get this window fixed.
I'll still need a way to sneak in here.
Just knock on the door.
I don't think it'll ever be that easy again.
I still have one question for you in all of this. Which tape did you come to get?
Vanessa digs through the box of tapes, ultimately taking out one which has a red X.
I put an X on it.
I didn't even notice that one. What's on the tape?
Vanessa moves to the VHS player and puts it in. Billy's face lights up the screen. Vanessa and David run with him on the beach on a sunny day. Many moments fly by, the same tape showing every moment.
This is the one thing that still makes me smile. All of the moments. The good times. They're all gone.
Red and blue lights flash outside the window as the video continues to play. Vanessa looks back at Vincent and sees the lights.
The phone call. You ratted me out.
I had no other choice, Van. You killed my brother. It's time for the court to decide your fate.
And you know what it's going to be, don't you?
It's not for me to say. I don't make the judgment.
They're already saying that I did it.
But, well, didn't you?
Vanessa looks back at the tape for a moment. She smiles. Vanessa removes the locket and walks to Vincent.
You don't believe in miracles, do you?
It depends on what you consider a miracle.
Getting out of bed in the morning, that's a miracle.
Sometimes, yes.
You've got a lot of hate in your heart. I've always known that about you. You've got a life full of regrets. That's why you never feel comfortable with where you are. Though, I suppose we all have regrets. We all have our own stories, our own journeys, things that we find funny, personal quirks. So it makes us human. I guess that it's a miracle that we're still here.
What does a miracle really do?
I guess it disrupts the monotony of life.
Life is full of monotony. That's why hate sells. It's different and interesting.
It's toxic.
It's not my choice. Who am I to say why people are monsters?
You're a police officer, aren't you? Your job is to lock the monsters away.
They're not all monsters. Often they are people who are desperate, confused, and just need help. People who are just like you.
Here,
Vanessa gives Vincent the heart locket.
in the heart, you'll find all the answers you need.
This was a gift for you. Don't you want to keep it?
They'll take it away from me anyways. Besides, I'd like to keep it in the family.
Vanessa walks towards the door.
Wait.
Vanessa turns.
You still have my gun?
Vanessa takes the gun out of her pocket and gives it to Vincent. He pulls her close and gives her a long hug.
You know, even after all of this, I still forgive you.
Then why did you put in the call?
No, I had to.
I do.
If I could just...
I know.
Vanessa kisses his cheek.
Goodbye.
Vanessa opens and walks out the door. Vincent watches the tape for a moment, then turns it off. He looks down at the locket.
Always keep this close to your heart. It's the one place where I'll be safe.
Vincent smirks. He collects his things to walk outside, then stops at the door. Vincent looks down at the locket for a moment, then opens it. A small buzzing is heard. His face turns white. A faint voice from the locket says,
Help me!
Vincent looks at the audience.
Help me!
Vincent looks back at the locket.
Help me!
Vincent closes the locket. Lights out. End of show.
to be able to get this work in front of people. Thank you guys for coming.